Hi, Mom. What are you doing today?
Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence, an ideal rental setting for retirees to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We have bright 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, and wellness and entertainment programs. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Mom, call me when you're not so busy.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
Follow your dreams, the message to the 2024 graduating class of the College of Our Lady of the Elms. I'm Kathy Harrington, and I'll have the story.
I'm Steve Kiltonic in Springfield, where I'll have the story of the only Hispanic regiment in the U.S. Army, the Boerne Canneers.
And details of an upcoming diocesan liturgy honoring medical professionals. It's all just ahead on Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel on this Memorial Day weekend. The College of Our Lady of the Elms 2024 graduating class, their guests, professors, and invited dignitaries gathered at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield last weekend for commencement ceremonies, which culminated a week of events that included the graduate hooding ceremony, the nursing pin ceremony, a baccalaureate mass, and blessing of the hoods on Friday night. Kathy Harrington has our story.
Family and friends stood for the national anthem as the 93rd commencement for Our Lady of the Elms College got underway. The class of 2024 began their college years with COVID-19 precautions, altering living arrangements and class schedules.
It took us some time to see your smiles because yours was the class that came in with face masks.
It's all smiles and only random face coverings on this Saturday at the Mass Mutual Center. 402 students, 283 undergraduates, and 119 graduates receiving a total of 407 degrees and certificates. Speaking to the students, Sisters of St. Joseph President Sister Elizabeth Sullivan urged the graduating class to accept challenges in life and believe in their dreams.
The Sisters of St. Joseph offer our prayers and support as each of you embark on your professional journey, letting your hopes and dreams direct you in achieving your goals.
Awarding the Founder's Cross to the student with the highest cumulative grade point average each year was this year awarded to 7 co-valedictorians, including Stephanie Alfonso, Maverick Huber, and Alyssa Moore from Ludlow. Classmates since childhood. Moore determined to follow her dream.
I had a track that I kind of was already planning on going, and I really liked Elms and their nursing program, so they didn't make it hard for me to choose nursing.
I had a wonderful teacher in high school, Mr. Mulvihill, that when I took his world history class, I immediately fell in love with the subject, and I decided, wow, this could be a career path for me.
With a master's degree in history and English, Alfonso heads to UMass Boston for a master's degree in history. Statistics and computer classes inspired Maverick Huber, graduating with a double major in computer science and computer information technology and security.
I did have an internship last summer that I really enjoyed. It was more of the IT, hardware route. So I'm looking to go, I loved that I tried it out, and I'm looking to go into more of the software programming route.
Pursuing what inspires them, the 3 valedictorians from Ludlow seem to have already taken commencement speaker Marjorie Haas's message to heart.
Find work that ignites your creativity and spend time looking beyond yourself so that you can see and assist those who are in need.
Heather Faye O'Connor.
Associate's degrees, Bachelor of Arts and Science in Nursing, master's degrees, and 17 Doctor of Nursing practice degrees awarded to the 2024 graduates, to cheers from family and friends. Not all of the graduating students are leaving campus. Some, like valedictorian Elisa Moore, are returning. She will work on her master's degree. The 93rd commencement drew to a close with a prayer from Our Lady of the Elms College professor, Father Mark Stelzer.
Empower these graduates of 2024 to embrace the future with faith and hope and love, so that guided by your love, they may be continuous light to our world.
With Ode to Joy filling the Mass Mutual Center, the graduates celebrated their way out of the arena. I'm Kathy Harrington for Reel to Reel.
Congratulations and best wishes to the Elms College class of 2024. Trying to determine if God is calling a person to a vocation as a priest or religious requires discovering how that calling can take shape and the pathway to that vocation. Recently, during the April school vacation, Diocesan Vocation Director Father Jonathan Reardon brought 3 young men to visit seminaries in the Washington, D.C. area. Nick Morganelli joined in on this trip and prepared this report.
Donovan Thorold, Lucas Morganelli, both 17 years old, and Joseph Mendez, a college graduate, all expressed interest to Father John Reardon in visiting a seminary to aid in their discernment for vocation.
And these are great young men that they're serious about their faith, they're serious about following God's will, and the fact that they're open to that at 16 and mid-20s is a blessing for us, for the Diocese of Springfield. That means that there's more out there.
I want to build a stronger faith with God and serve God. So I decided I want to go into the priesthood, but I'm not sure which one.
Then they get to see firsthand what the seminary is like every day, between prayer and adoration and Mass and schooling and their formation.
The first stop on the trip was St. John Paul II Seminary in Washington, D.C. Here, seminarians receive a degree in philosophy, the first step in one's journey to the priesthood, which continues with a master's degree in theology. The group toured the nearby Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception, taking time out for prayer along the way.
Sometimes I don't spend enough time with God, or I'm distracted, or I'm not really focusing on it. And then this trip with the praying, and I had more time to really focus.
It was wonderful to participate in the Mass with the seminarians, as well as their offices, holy hours, and their the different activities of their schedule, such as classes, recreation, and meals.
The second seminary was Mount St. Mary University. The group spent time in the Rother House, which is adjacent to the St. Elizabeth Ann Seton National Shrine in Emmitsburg, Maryland. Tours for the group not only included this shrine, along with the Museum and Visitor Center, but also the Grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes National Shrine. This is easily found once in Emmitsburg, as a huge shining gold statue of Our Lady sits atop the hill, which is part of the university campus. Father Reardon participated in an evening panel discussion where seminarians asked questions to help them in their discernment.
Joseph, Stephen, Lucas, Joseph, Lucas.
One form of outreach at this seminary, or apostolic work, is to help this local organic farm. That was an added plus for the 3 young men.
Oh, I loved the farm. The farm was wonderful. Growing up, my family always had animals, and so it was wonderful to see the chickens, the different livestock, as well as the planting. It was a wonderful program that they have there, and it's good for the seminarians to get some manual labor, and that's really good for discernment.
The road trip for Joseph, Donovan, and Lucas was somewhat the same, lots of snacks and naps, but each had a different realization as to whether the priesthood was still in their future.
For a lot of guys, visiting and being there confirms what they've been feeling or what they feel they're called to, or it says, hey, this was great, but I don't feel called to that.
That was true for Lucas. The trip helped him discern that seminary life is not for him, at least not right now, but a pursuit of an Air Force College ROTC program is, and perhaps becoming a military chaplain is in the future for him.
The discernment of any vocation really happens primarily before the Blessed Sacrament. In addition to that, the environment of the seminary, the fraternity among the seminarians, the schedule of life, even the philosophy classes, the apostolic work that they do, all of it is intended to elicit from within him a better understanding of what he's being called to do. It is a calling, but it's also a desire, right? And God places that desire in our hearts.
Receiving communion every day, the chanting is more moving. It moves you, it energizes you. You're happy to be there. You have a purpose. You bring a purpose to Mass.
For Donovan, this purpose for a priestly vocation resonated with him.
I determined that's what it's meant for me to do. Adoration strengthened me a lot. To me, that's what really now is calling me to missionary work.
It definitely helped me have a clearer picture of what I want to do going forward.
Joseph is leaning towards seminary life to continue discerning the vocation of priesthood. Donovan is planning on a 2-week trip in July to Verona, Italy, where he will experience the seminary and life of stigmatine priests and brothers as he feels called to this vocation.
Bishop Byrne actually has a great line. He says, every man is called to be a father, whether that's being a biological father or the father of a priest. Whether they end up becoming diocesan priests, religious priests, or married men, our job is to walk with them as they discern what their vocation is.
And Father John reminds anyone interested in any of these vocations can contact him through the Office of Vocations at diospringfield.org. Learning about the discerning, in Maryland, I'm Nick Morganelli.
Thank you, Nick, and it looks like it was a really informative trip. If you or someone you know would like to explore a call to the priesthood, visit our Diocesan Vocations website at myvocation.com. And next Saturday, June 1st, seminarian John Williams will be taking the next important step in his priestly formation as Bishop William Byrne will ordain him as deacon. This ceremony will take place at 11 a.m. next Saturday at St. Mary's Church in Longmeadow. And still to come on this edition of Reel to Reel, Dan Dumas will have the latest news briefs from across Western Massachusetts. And as we mark Memorial Day, Steve Kiltonick will bring us the story of a courageous group of veterans who served with honor in America's wars, despite being a segregated unit. These stories are still to come on this edition of Reel to Reel.
Like Catholic TV on Facebook. Once you're there, you can join in on discussions, make friends with other Catholic TV fans, watch behind-the-scenes videos from the studio,
just finished this today.
And stay up to date with the Catholic world. All this at facebook.com/CatholicTV.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Reel to Reel news briefs. The Mass Citizens for Life held their annual Mother's Day dinner earlier this month. The main speaker was Stephen Mosher, an author and social scientist who spoke about the myth of overpopulation and the horrors of population control programs.
I have Jonah Davis and I have Addison Crozier. They are visiting here from Vermont here with their family for this beautiful event, and they are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
More than 150 people gathered at the Sheraton in Springfield for Mass Citizens for Life's annual Mother's Day dinner in early May, emceed by Reel to Reel's Caroline McGrath. Stephen Mosher, author and president of the Population Research Institute, which aims to warn people about the dangers of population control programs, was the keynote speaker. Mosher, the first American social scientist to visit mainland China, witnessed the horrors of forced abortions under the one-child policy. He has been fighting against coercive population control since the 1980s.
I was in China, and I saw what an abortion was. I was in the operating room, and they were forcibly aborting women who were 7, 8, and 9 months pregnant by cesarean section. And when you're in the operating room and they're removing a dead or dying baby from the mother's body, there's no doubt about the fact that it's the killing of a tiny son of Adam or a tiny daughter of Eve. So I became pro-life.
He and his wife Vera have 9 children and 13 grandchildren. The Catholic convert has written several books, including The Devil and Chinese Communism. He said the birth rate is the lowest it's ever been in the United States at 1.62, explaining that a fertility rate of 2.1 is needed to maintain the population.
We can do several things on the national level. We can help to shelter young couples from taxes, because if you're paying half your income in state and local and federal taxes, you don't feel like you're able financially to bring children into the world. We can forgive student loans of young couples who are willing to marry and have children. I think that would be a good step.
Myrna Maloney Flynn, a mother of 4, is the president of the MCFL. She highlighted recent efforts to protect pregnancy care centers, which have been under attack since the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
We installed a billboard. We offered pregnancy center tours to legislators and the media. We testified against legislative attempts to censor pregnancy centers and rallied residents across the state to do the same. As a result, every pregnancy resource center is still open and serving women.
Several pro-life centers were present, including Christina's house.
Well, life overall is important, and so being an executive director that works with women and children that are facing homelessness, life can be hard, and so we have to just remind people that God gave purpose to each and every individual, no matter whether you're in the womb or outside the womb. Everyone deserves a chance to live life.
To learn more about the MCFL petition to protect pregnancy care centers, go to masscitizensforlife.org. In other news, the 22nd Annual Eucharistic Rosary Procession is preparing to take to the streets of Northampton next Sunday. The 22nd Annual Diocesan-wide Eucharistic Rosary Procession will take place Sunday, June 2nd at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Parish in Northampton. The procession, organized by the Children of Mary, will coincide with the Feast of Corpus Christi. The afternoon will include Eucharistic adoration, the Rosary, and an opportunity for confession. Typically, more than 500 people attend, with the procession stepping off on King Street and winding through downtown. Father David Offero, pastor of Holy Family Parish in South Deerfield, will speak at 2 p.m. before the procession takes to the streets.
My talk, the title of the talk is called The Eucharist Will Make Me a Saint, and I'm modeling it after the I don't know how much I want to give away, but I'm modeling it after the Marian consecration after St. Louis de Montfort, and doing that structure with kind of combating the spirit of the world, developing a knowledge of self, increasing our love for Mary and increasing our love for Jesus, and then speaking a little bit about evangelization, and then after that we're going to be heading out into the streets of Northampton and processing with the Eucharist out in the streets of Northampton.
The congregation will not only pray the Rosary, but will sing the Chaplet of Divine Mercy upon returning to the church. For more information, go to EucharisticProcessionNorthampton.com. You can read more on these and other stories at iobserve.org, where you can find articles from our Catholic communication staff, as well as on-demand episodes of Real to Real. That's iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and those were your Real to Real news briefs.
For the first time in several years, the Diocese of Springfield will be holding a white mass honoring medical professionals. Bishop William Byrne will celebrate the liturgy coming up on June 2nd at 10 a.m. in St. Michael's Cathedral in Springfield. Joining me now to talk more about this special mass is Dr. Peter Kelly, coordinator of the event. Hi, Dr. Kelly. Nice to see you, and thanks for joining us on Real to Real.
Thanks for inviting me, Sharon. It's my pleasure.
So first of all, I think we're all familiar with other masses that we have been having throughout the years. The blue mass for law enforcement, pink mass for cancer, and purple mass for Alzheimer's, just to name a few. But what's the significance of the white mass?
The white mass honors healthcare workers, and also during the mass we ask for God's blessing on healthcare workers. It was started back in the 1930s by the Catholic Medical Association and is being promoted by the Order of Malta, whose mission is to serve the sick and the poor. The white mass gets its name from the fact that doctors traditionally wore white lab coats.
I see. And so for those who will be attending this special liturgy, why is this mass so necessary?
As a Catholic healthcare provider, many of us experience dark times when we defend the gospel of life and the Catholic Church teachings. The Catholic Mass is a time for us to get together in consolation and unity in our faith. And I would like to invite everyone to attend this, not just doctors and nurses, it's for all healthcare workers in hospitals and nursing homes, administration, officers, receptionists, lab workers, and also caregivers. Anyone that takes care of patients should come to the White Mass.
All right, Dr. Peter Kelly, thanks so much for your insight and for coordinating this much-needed event for the medical community.
Thank you, Sharon. It's my pleasure.
And again, if you would like to attend the White Mass, all are welcome on Sunday, June 2nd at 10 a.m. at St. Michael's Cathedral in Springfield. A ceremony was held at Springfield's City Hall last month to remember a group of courageous veterans who served in America's wars with honor, despite being a segregated unit. One local Vietnam veteran has made it his mission to see that this group of Puerto Rican veterans is never forgotten to history. Steve Kiltonick has the story now of the 65th Infantry Regiment, the Borinqueniers.
They were members of the U.S. 65th Infantry Regiment, otherwise known as Los Borinqueniers. Except for some senior officials, the Borinqueniers were the only all-Hispanic active duty regiment in the U.S. Armed Forces. Most of the soldiers of the 65th were natives of Puerto Rico. The regimental motto was honor and fidelity. Despite facing discrimination in a then segregated military, the Borinqueniers distinguished themselves in both World Wars and Korea, receiving many medals for bravery. Gumersindo Gomez has made it his life's mission to gain national recognition for this forgotten group of heroes. On April 12th at Springfield City Hall, Gomez, Mayor Dominic Sarno, and other dignitaries gathered to honor the 65th Infantry. Attending was one of the two living Borinqueniers in Massachusetts, 100-year-old Antonio Morales of Springfield. Another Springfield Borinquenier, 99-year-old Victor Rosario, was unable to attend. Puerto Ricans have a long history of fighting for the United States, dating back to the Revolutionary War. In 1899, volunteer infantry companies first formed in Puerto Rico. In 1917, during World War I, the Puerto Rican Regiment of Infantry, about 20,000, was mobilized to protect the Panama Canal. The 65th Infantry Regiment was officially established in 1923. During World War II, an estimated 60,000 Puerto Ricans served. 5 years later, as tensions mounted in Korea, the well-trained 65th Regiment was activated in January 1950.
It had all the men that our regiment will hold, because the Puerto Ricans were going home being soldiers. So they were joining the 65th in Puerto Rico every day. They wanted to wear that uniform.
While aboard the transport ship on their way to Korea, the 65th took the name Borinquenier, a Taino-Indian name for Puerto Rico.
When they got to Korea, they had no winter gear whatsoever. All they had was their summer fatigues. So these guys, for those 3 months, they froze.
Upon arriving, the 65th, with Springfield's Rosario leading a fixed bayonet charge, captured 2 strategic hills from the Chinese. In the war's first major battle, the 65th fought off the Chinese who had surrounded the 1st Marine Division at the Chosin Reservoir, creating a corridor for them to withdraw. About 20,000 Puerto Ricans served with valor in Korea. Borinqueniers received the Medal of Honor, 9 Distinguished Service Crosses, 250 Silver Stars, hundreds of Bronze Stars, and thousands of Purple Hearts. The seed for Gomez's devotion to the Borinqueniers was planted at the age of 5.
My godfather and my father, both of them were Borinqueniers. I saw my father and my padrino, my godfather, in their uniform, short, coming back.
Gomez learned that the men of the 65th Regiment were not in the military annals.
This country had turned their backs on us, not realizing how much blood we have given to this country.
At his home, 3rd Sergeant Antonio Morales, with Gomez translating, spoke about his service with the Army's 3rd Battalion in North Africa, Italy, and France during the Second World War.
I was an infantryman. Combatant. And I just followed the orders of my superiors to do the job that I was required to do.
Morales' job was to capture enemy pillboxes from the Nazis. In France, he was sent to the 3rd Army's Central Command to guard General George Patton.
I was very close to the general because we guarded his headquarters. When the French people and soldiers saw him, they told him, Patton, go forward, go forward.
Although death surrounded him, Morales' faith never wavered.
That is why I'm here, because I believe in my Father, our Lord Jesus Christ, and that has kept me going, and that's the main reason I'm still here.
Morales was decorated with 3 Bronze Stars and the World War II Victory Medal, among others.
I'm very proud of what we did for the United States of America and the recognition they're giving us now.
Gomez enlisted for Vietnam in 1967 at 18 and served a tour with the 196th Light Infantry Brigade. He attained the rank of Sergeant First Class and went on to a 20-year career in the Army. Gomez said his faith, courtesy of his mother, helped him survive.
My family in Puerto Rico were Catholics. And my mom, before I left, she gave me a prayer, a written prayer, and I said, son, read this prayer every morning.
In 1987, Gomez helped establish the Puerto Rican Veterans Association in Springfield, which later became the Bilingual Veterans Outreach Center. His office walls are decorated with photos, plaques, and citations from decades spent fighting to get recognition for the Born Conneers. In 2016, President Obama awarded the Congressional Gold Medal to the 65th. In 2018, Gomez was instrumental in getting the city of Springfield to rename a section of Main Street in the Hispanic North End 65th Infantry Way. And in 2021, Congress designated April 13th National Born Conneers Day. This marks the 4th year the 65th has been honored in Springfield. The highlight is the raising of the Puerto Rican flag outside City Hall. Gomez played the Born Conneer March, which brought tears to Morales now 80 years after his service. Gomez said he's reached all his goals for the 65th. His only wish is that future generations of Puerto Ricans remember the Born Conneers, especially those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
We're not here for free. We pay a price, and that price was paid by blood.
Thanks to veterans like Gomez, the Born Conneers are no longer lost to the pages of history. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
And coming up this Monday, Memorial Day, we will remember our veterans from all branches as we give thanks to those who served and those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. And for this week, that's Real to Real. Thank you so much for joining us today. Be sure to follow the latest news on the Catholic Church, both here in Western Massachusetts and around the world on our news and information website, iobserve.org. There you can find articles prepared by our Catholic Communications reporting team and our partners at our Sunday Visitor. That's iobserve.org. And we're also on Facebook, so follow us there at Catholic Communications. I'll see you at this same time next week for another edition of Real to Real, your window on the world around you. We leave you now with this tribute to those who have given their lives in service to our nation.